What is going on, everybody? It is Tandy time. It's Sunday, and we have a very special guest. For those of you who know NBA content, who have watched NBA TV for the last several years, you might recognize my next guest, who watched the current No Dunks show. He is J.E. Skeets, big Raptors fan, and I am very excited to have him on the show today. And we're going to ask him some different questions. We're going to focus mainly on things like what players might make the leap next season, which might be good value if you're looking for players on NBA Top Shot. So without further ado, let's bring in the man. We got to introduce him with some kind of video. Let me see here. This one probably works.
Memories. How's it going, Tandy?
Going very well, Jay Skeets. I'm very happy to have you here. When you look at those videos of Kawhi, what kind of emotions arise? It almost felt like, like a amazing romance that was just over just a little too soon. It was like that one summer, and then you lost her.
It honestly still feels like a dream that it all happened. That Kawhi, DeRozan was traded for him, and then he's there, and then obviously the run they go on, and they win the championship. And then he's gone just like that. It was like, it's still, and it was really weird timing with our show too, because we were wrapping up as the starters at NBA TV in that final season. So that's sort of surreal. I've got the towel over my shoulder here in the background. It's actually from the locker room. Trey Kirby was there because he was part of the show still. And he grabbed that towel for me from the locker room. So I had it framed. Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird that it's happened, but I'm oddly still riding the Raptors championship high too. Like, they could win 10 games next year. It's like, so we won a championship in the last couple of years. So it's really, really weird.
Yeah, I actually have a segment that we call the Genie's Wish, where I ask you a question, and it's a little bit difficult because if you choose the thing that you think you want, you have to do something that you might not like so much. So I'm just gonna let you know about that now, and We'll do that in a little while. We'll see how you answer that question. But your hint is that it might have something to do with that whirlwind romance. But J.E. Skeets, for those in the chat who might not know you very well, what would you tell them? You've been all over television, and now you have a big successful show with The Athletic on YouTube. Who is J.E. Skeets?
I am a long time podcaster about the NBA. Yeah, just the quick rundown for those that don't know is we started. I say we because I do a show called No Dunks, a part of the Athletic Network, like you said, with a guy named Tass, our producer JD. There's an American with a big beard named Trey Kirby, and there's an Australian named Lee Ellis. So it's the five of us now. We used to have a guy named Matty O. He just came on a podcast to talk about the Giannis movie Rise. If you want to go check that out on No Dunks. But it was like, really, it was the six of us, and still now the five of us. We started this podcast back in, oh my God, like 05, 06, like back when nobody knew what a podcast was. In fact, I remember when JD came to me, and I went to school for radio and television. We all did. The three of us, or the four of us, Tass, JD, and Matty O, and myself. That's where we met. And JD said, "You guys want to do a podcast?" And we were like, "What are you talking about?" And we were in the field of radio and television. Like this was sort of what we were supposed to be doing for our life, in theory. And he was like, it's like internet radio, I guess, but you can listen to it whenever you want and eventually have it on a device and stuff like that. And so we decided, yeah, let's do that. Tass and I as the hosts and JD producing it. And well, what are we going to talk about? We're sports guys. We were just going to do all sports. We were like, let's get a little more, specific. So I love the NBA. Tass is a big NBA fan too. So that's why we picked the NBA. And anyway, we did that for a long time. It became a second job that we never got paid for. But we started to like build a little bit of a following. And again, I think because we were first, that definitely helped. But JD's production was through the roof right from day one, and our chemistry built. And then we got picked up by a station in Canada at the time called The Score, which was a sports channel. And we then started doing television work for them in addition to the podcast. Then the NBA saw what we were doing up there. They said, come on down here to Atlanta. Why don't we turn this into a daily television show? So we did that. We all moved here, and we did that for 6 years. And we podcasted still on the side and flipped them into podcasts and all that. But we really, really, tried to get better at making television. And we were a zany little show, and it was a very different type of NBA show. Hopefully some of you saw it. And then anyway, they said, okay, we're done with you. No more. And we went back to our podcast roots. And thankfully the Athletic were like, yeah, we want you guys as sort of one of our flagship shows. And so now we're back to doing daily podcasts, but we lean into what you're doing here, and we have our own YouTube channel, and we're trying to grow that and stuff like that. So I've been doing this basically a daily NBA show for 16, 17 years at this point. So I just talk about basketball with my friends, and somehow somebody pays me to do that. It's pretty damn amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. You got some fans in the chat here. We got Mike Weisberg. He's an old fan, it looks like. But very, very good. And what's in a name? Because I was doing a little recon. J.E. Skeets was not your birth name.
No, it's a shame. Well, I mean, I've shared this story so many times, and it's such a bad story that it's like, why even say it? But when we were starting the podcast, and I guess I glossed over the fact that I was like sort of at the forefront of like NBA blogging as well. And I got paid by Yahoo Sports to do that for a while, in addition to doing the podcast and trying to build up that. And so I decided I was like a physician recruiter just out of university. And I was like, well, I'm going to be blogging about the NBA online. I better not use my real name in case, I'm going to probably be doing this at work, if we're being honest. Don't want my boss to like see that and get upset. So I just came up with J.E. Skeets. And it was something that had been said basically at, I remember like a cottage in Canada. I'm originally from Stratford, Ontario. It's just outside of Toronto. And I was with friends, and I'm sure a bunch of weed was involved and a bunch of booze. And I just remember I don't know why it just stuck with me. And I think I just said, okay, I'll go with that. Not really thinking twice. Thought I'd blog for a month and then I'd be done with it. And now here I am 17 years later. And just yesterday, someone at a restaurant in Atlanta, Skeets. And so I get to hear a lot of that, which I actually don't mind. I like having two different personas, because when someone yells Skeets, I know they're probably a fan, and I don't really know them in real life.
Yeah.
And then if somebody's yelling Phil, I have a better idea that maybe I've met them and shook their hand and maybe, know their family or something like that. So
yeah, you can predict the conversation ahead of time.
It's sort of good. Yeah. It's sort of nice.
That's good. That's good. And a question I also wanted to ask was that since you run in like actual NBA circles and not NBA Top Shot circles, what throughout the last couple of years has been your experience when you introduce NBA Top Shot? Because I was actually like, as I was doing some of that recon, and I saw you were once calling into like the Rich Eisen show. So you have people that are more traditionally connected to the NBA. What are the reactions, and what have they been like over the past couple of years? Do you feel like people who are into NBA Top Shot, like yourself, like myself, like the people in this chat, are kind of like nerds in their own little bubble, and it's going to take longer for like the average fan to truly get it? Like, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I still think that's the case. I mean, so Trey and I, we got into Top Shot, I guess, like 16 or 17 months ago. And, Trey brought it to me and I'm like, what is this? And I knew nothing about NFTs, nothing about the blockchain. Like, I still don't really, but definitely didn't back then. But I was like, wow, this is cool. And I couldn't believe the NBA was actually associated with it. I was like, wow, this is legit. Like, what is this? And then, took like 3 days of like playing around on the site to be like, okay, yeah, I get this. This makes sense, where I could see the future of this. And the NBA obviously believes in it. And this is sort of cool to me. And then Trey and I just saw like a content play too. We're like, okay, well, if we're going to like acquire some of these moments and get the packs and all that, why don't we like spin off a little show where we rip them open and, give away moments, whatever. So that's the Top Shot Hot Boys that we do under the No Dunks umbrella. And I remember when we started that, there's obviously a lot of NBA fans that follow our show. Like, what the hell is this? And there still are. I know when I post like, hey, the Top Shot Boys are going to rip some packs, I'll get the odd, like, this is a scam. What a waste of money. You get that. But I couldn't care less. So yeah, but to answer your question, so there's still some hesitancy, I think, from people that just find this maybe a little overwhelming. Which is the best thing for Top Shot, is that it's like, especially when you start looking at like OpenSea and other NFTs and minting and all that stuff, contracts and blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is really, it doesn't take long to figure out how to use it. Once you got your dapper bucks and stuff like that. So, but people are just skeptical, I think, and they just think it'll probably be a fad. And I know I've been listening to your podcast over the last couple of days, and other shows. It's like, it's nice to see Top Shot having a bit of a moment again, or at least on the rise again after a couple bad months there. So I just think it's just going to take a while for more and more people. And I've seen people in our community though that are NBA fans. They see Trey and I doing this. They see how much fun we have doing it. And I know for a fact that they're like got an account and they're doing it themselves. And there's this cool like sharing of like, oh, what moment do you need for that challenge and all that. Like, so that part's really fun too. So it's like this little just sub community within the bigger No Dunk community.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think that the community side of it, I definitely have to play that clip for you.
We love the community.
But yeah, the community is a very
that was
important...
me dancing at the end there.
Yeah, we love the community. I think that is really, it is true. It's created something out of nothing. We're all connected over these digital collectibles. It's kind of amazing.
Our show, the success of our podcast, only really took off because of our community. Like, people that found the show became loyal listeners. Like, when we first got our job at The Score, again, like a television network, it was mainly because we asked all these people that just listened to our daily podcast for, at that point, like 3 or 4 years running, hey, email The Score. Tell them that they should hire us because we do this as a part-time job. You imagine we did this as our only job, like the content you would get, and they were like inundated with emails to the point where they apparently like shut down their email. And so that was like wild. And it's like, we thought 5 people would email or something, like the diehards of all diehards. But it was apparently a lot of people that I think felt like an invested interest in our success. It's like, it's their show just as much as it is ours in making it. And I think there's some similarities there. Everybody wants to like make a buck, no doubt, but there is like you being early, you want it to grow. Why wouldn't we? So, and that's why everybody's really opinionated and passionate about all of this, and everybody's got ideas of supply and what they should be doing and all that. And I mean, that's better than the opposite, where nobody cares and it's like, all right, and then it's over in a couple months. So you'd rather that one, I think.
Yeah, well, we see plenty of that in the NFT space. So it's nice that there is that back and forth, and we hear from leadership, and it is very unique in that way, where it's like a growing startup, let's say, but we get to like interact all the time with the people involved. And
yeah,
so anyway, I love that about it as well. But anyhow, I think some people want to jump into the goods. They want to hear about these players that an NBA mind like yourself has thought about. So we'll do a little break here, and then we'll and it's a quick break, so don't go to the bathroom. I've had people get up and it's a 6-second video. Yeah, we'll do our 6-second video, and then we'll talk about some players. All right, we're back.
Holy crap. Who was that guy jumping? What was that clip?
Oh, that was me. I was in Brazil.
Wow, you looked like Lee Ellis, the guy I do the show with there. Can you play that
Really?
again?
All right, let's play it again.
Wow, the freeze frame at the end. I thought it was Lee.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna have to send this clip over to him.
Okay.
All right. So, all right. Sorry, they're asking for the beta clip. We are in beta. We'll do the beta clip.
Beta.
Yeah, a lot of testing. A lot of testing going on.
I
backstage.
see. Zakarian is agreeing with me. That does look more like Lee than it does you.
And might we just appreciate for a second that whenever Zakarian comes on and leaves a comment, we get to look at this LinkedIn Microsoft employee picture and we just eat it up and enjoy it.
Is it a joke photo?
That's a great question, actually. Like, this might have been his photo before he started doing content, and then he just never changed it. So we might just leave that up the rest of the show. But anyhow, let's talk about some players. So where my mind goes immediately is what teams have lost big scorers, big playmakers, and now someone's going to fill in that gap. But I was thinking about that. For example, like on the Magic, let's say, I didn't even look this up, but like, or teams that kind of tank and then have like one player that has to sort of perform. But like, did the Magic have one of those? Did the Magic have someone who was always ending up in the Flash challenges? Because I don't think they did.
That's tough. For me to like remember the Flash challenges is going to be very difficult. And I know we are going to try and spin this into like who could be showing up on Flash challenges, like, because of points scored or whatever, like other random stat they're going to pick for that particular night. Which, by the way, I love the Flash challenges. I'm like desperately putting out offers right now for Candace Parker, $2 under low ask. Why am I doing that? I don't know. But I want to save $2 to then use the Candace Parker in a Flash challenge. When I was thinking about this though, first off, I think there should be some rules. I don't think we can like pick superstars that are returning from injury because I think that's like a no-brainer. So, like Kawhi, Jamal Murray, Ben Simmons, even if you believe in Ben Simmons playing, Zion Williamson, like okay, if those superstars are playing, then we know there's a reason why they're basically called superstars, because they're going to put up a bunch of stats, so they would be in it. And then I also don't think we should include second-year players because like. So your Cade Cunninghams, your Jalen Greens, your Josh Giddeys and stuff like that. This like always goes back to when I debate about the most improved player. Like I can't stand that we like suddenly now consider second-year players. It's like, of course they're going to improve. They were rookies. Now they have a whole NBA season under their belt, the ins and outs of working with the staff and all that. It's like, yeah, okay. I mean, you can make pretty big jumps, don't get me wrong, but I don't like counting second-year players. So those are the two that I would like to take off the board, if that's okay with you. Does that make sense?
And I think in Top Shot terms too, it's kind of lame to be like, oh yeah, you definitely want to go look for like an Anthony Edwards Top Shot debut. It's like, bro, it's like $500. I mean,
right.
So that's another thing to keep in mind.
So then to start this list, and you sort of set it up, I think there nicely when you were saying like, try and think of a team that maybe because players are gone, or maybe the direction of the franchise where they're going to go and not try and win many games, who's going to fill the vacuum and just get a bunch of stats. So I'm going to go with Keldon Johnson of the San Antonio Spurs, who, I mean, and I know I saw somebody tweeting at me like earlier when they knew I was coming on. They're like, Devin Vassell, go with him. Devin Vassell. And it's like, yeah, you could pick one or the other. I think I feel a little more confidence in Keldon Johnson with DeJounte Murray having, left the team and coming here to Atlanta to play for the Hawks. But Keldon Johnson is also really, he's pretty solid already. Like he's a 17-6 guy. He played a lot of games. He shot 40% from three on a decent amount of attempts. So I could very easily picture him becoming, I could think DeJounte averaged 21 or 22 points per game. I could see that sort of becoming Keldon Johnson. I think that's not far-fetched to think that somebody's got to score on this team, and why couldn't he be a 20, 21, 22 point per game scorer?
So funny enough, I actually was keeping an eye on Keldon Johnson. I think someone I followed on Twitter was like this massive Keldon Johnson stan. And so I bought one of his Top Shot debuts when they were like $80. Now they're, I think, $11. I actually bought a couple in anticipation of this show when I started thinking about this for that exact reason. But correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't he kind of crushing it and then like the other teams figured out how he played and all of a sudden he couldn't score anymore? Is that what
I
happened?
mean, I like, well, yeah, I think that people are like, whoa, this guy's actually good. We need to like add him to the game plan here of like how we're
Okay.
going to like slow the Spurs. But he's still such a great shooter. I mean, he's a big kid. He has experience with Team USA. I mean, like the Spurs are the Spurs too. Like if Pop is still there, they're running their stuff. They get high efficiency shots. Like no one's. This is the thing. Like with a Spurs player, I mean, DeJounte Murray put up stats, don't get me wrong, like flirting with a triple-double, but like generally there ain't going to be Spurs guys going for 35 and 40 on any given. Like this doesn't really happen with this type of team, with a Pop team. So he's going to be consistently, I think, just like that 20 to 25 point per range. But no, and then he's just heading into his fourth season too. That's a big sort of like always like can be a jump. He just got paid to I think the 4-year $80 million extension. So I'm confident about this one if he's healthy that he's basically a 20-7 type guy or 22-8 type guy. Like that's pretty damn good.
And do we typically see players perform well when they get paid? Is it usually like the first year? Because I feel like sometimes we see players get paid and then often there's some kind of drop off. But is that drop off usually not that first year?
I think at his age and like where he is in his career, I'm not as concerned about that. I also just think it speaks to the person himself, right? Like some people are gonna be like, sweet, got paid. All right, cool. Checks are going to roll in. I can take it easy now. And so maybe you're not as dedicated to like whatever, getting in the gym, getting your shots up. Where I think the opposite happens. Some guys like, damn, I got paid. I'm like, they're saying sort of like, here are the keys to the car. I better like take it to the next level. I sort of feel like Keldon Johnson's going to be more like that than the.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So there's another guy, and I'll mention him, and let's see if he's on your list. Is Jalen Brunson on your list?
Jalen Brunson is. I don't have him on my list. I am a big Brunson fan, but I have a teammate of his because I actually like Jalen Brunson being added to the Knicks for RJ Barrett's potential to go to another level. Where I think most people would say, "Oh, well, isn't the opposite going to happen? Like, aren't RJ Barrett's points going to go down because less shots?" I don't buy that at all. I don't buy it at all because I actually love the idea of like a young kid like RJ Barrett, a Canadian at that, playing with a competent point guard. Like don't worry, there's enough points to go around in an NBA team. You know, they generally score 100, if not more. So two guys can score over 20. So I love RJ Barrett. And I just think he was like he scored 20 points per game last year, but like bad efficiency. So like 40%, like just above 40% from the field, 34% from three. But him with Brunson. We'll see if Mitchell joins that squad. That's a little different. Okay, if Mitchell's there, okay, then I can start to be like, oh, but he's not. I just think RJ Barrett could replicate the career progression of like a Tatum. I don't think he's going to be as good as that, but like Tatum in his third or fourth year is when he popped off, like went to like another level, and I think RJ Barrett can do that as well. And I think he'll shoot the ball better, and I love the idea of him being paired with like a real point guard. But I like Brunson too.
Well, I'm sure there's some Knicks stands that are incredibly excited right now. RJ Barrett's one of those guys. His rookie card is in the Series 1, so of course that's not going to be the cheapest, but he does have some rares that are not that crazy, like his $58 Seeing Star rare, I believe.
I have a Rising Stars RJ Barrett. I don't know what that's going for.
That's the $58 one.
Oh, is that one? Rising Stars. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that could be a flash challenge play because often they require rares. I think that RJ is another name that I saw being tossed around quite a bit. And there's a lot of optimism around the Knicks, especially if they can get Mitchell. I mean, Mitchell has been writing some weird cryptic tweets and people are dressing him up like Spider-Man on top of the Madison Square Garden or something. But I don't know. We'll see. Did you see that tweet or that art?
I didn't see that one. No. I mean, look, you can I know like is it Worldwide Wob? I know it used to be. I don't know if he still does it, but like you can fall down one hell of a rabbit hole when you start looking at the social media posts from players and then them commenting on other team or other players things, and it's like
just the eyeballs.
I think you can go crazy. Yeah, and I think they know it too, the players.
Yeah,
and I think they like the attention. A lot of these guys, they're like, hey, I also think they're like literally kicking it at the crib and they're like to their buddy, like, hey, watch this. And like just drop eye emojis and just like watch Twitter go nuts. I swear to God that happens. So
I would
yeah.
sure as hell do it too. If
Yeah,
I
so
could.
would I.
We get them eye emojis and see 1,000 comments per second. All right. So what are we going now for? What do we got for number 3?
Well, I saw it here. I think it was JMW, as I like to call him, Michael there. Halliburton. I like Halliburton
Okay.
to like continue to make the leap. And I say continue because when he was traded from the Kings to the Pacers last year, he put up some numbers on Indiana. He averaged 17, 10 assists per game, 4 boards and 2 steals down the stretch there when he was on the Pacers. He's heading into just his 3rd season. He's going to be 22 still come October. His shooting splits were unreal. I mean, I will be amazed if he can keep them this high, but this guy was like 50 from the floor, 41 from 3, 85 from the line. That is, he's flirting with the 50, 40, 90 club there. So extremely efficient. And yeah, I don't think it's a secret that the Pacers are like, Halliburton, it's sort of your team. I don't think they plan on like winning a ton of games because they're not going to be like really a playoff team yet. That's fine. You'll get another pick. And then we know they're trying to trade Miles Turner because they've been trying to trade him for like 3 years. And then Buddy Hield probably won't be long on that team too. Whether something happens with the Lakers or some other team finally like talks them into giving up a 1st-round pick for one of these guys or 2 of them. So I just think Halliburton's just going to get a lot of stats. And I think he'll be on a lot of these flash challenges at times.
Yeah, I think that's a good take. And it seems when they traded him, that was such a head scratcher to me. Did you guys ever get to the bottom of that? Why do you get rid of such a young? To me, that was like when, although it was a little different, but like when the Red Sox got rid of Mookie Betts. Like, why are you getting rid of these young, incredible talents? They're so young, they play so well, and then you just get rid of them?
Yeah, I think they sort of like painted themselves into a bit of a corner, like with their drafting and all that. Like the Kings, like suddenly they had like 3 pretty competent young guards in Fox, Halliburton, and Davion Mitchell, and it was like maybe there's like, all right, we need some guys that are actually wings and bigs. So it's like let's swap one of these guys for Sabonis in this case. And I mean, I guess it sucks to give up on what appears to be a really talented guy in Halliburton. I get the reasoning a little bit though of like, Fox ain't going anywhere right now. We like Mitchell there as sort of a defensive-minded second guard beside him. So let's get an all-star big. It's tough for us to get talent here to Sacramento. But no, it could come back to bite him in the ass if Tyrese Halliburton is making, 3, 4, 5 all-star teams in his future. And I think it's possible once they start like winning games and stuff like that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I agree. So Halliburton, for those keeping score, you got our Series 2 debut. Right now it's at 143. That has pumped a little bit.
Wow.
The average sale was 126. And then our lowest cost rare is a Series 3 MGLE, which is at 67. So that's what we're talking about now.
Do we know if Harrison Barnes sold or burned all his Tyrese Halliburton?
That's a good question. We did see him
got traded. Yeah.
We did see him trade in a Jason Tatum debut to the locker room, which was very confusing. But it must have been like a slip of the finger because he's actually one of the Celtics leaders on that leaderboard. Actually, that's a good segue for a second here. Mm-hmm. Are you locking moments? Are you looking to be on a leaderboard?
I am eventually going to be, though I think it was you that's got me hesitant. I thought you were making some decent cases and other people as well of like, definitely it happened. And everyone's like, oh, this is sick. There's a leaderboard. Let me get in there. Boom, 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 boom. Lock up everything. See you in a year, which fine. If you want to do that. And it's totally cool. And it's great, obviously, for, I think even, the supply, of course. And it's like moments, at least not for sale as much. But I'm like, I don't know why I'm like suddenly like, what's the rush, I guess, now. So what I did was, it's sort of funny. I say, what's the rush? When I saw it on the website, I'm on Top Shot way too often. I saw it go live, the leaderboard, before they had even like blasted the news that leaderboards were a thing. So I was like, oh, I had just bought a Kyle Lowry run it back that I had my eye on for like a year. And I actually put an offer in and the person took it. So it was like a little bit under low ask. And then I was like, all right, I'll lock it up. And so for about 10 seconds, I was the number 1 leader on the Raptors leaderboard because I had the first basically moment. I was like one of the first people to lock it. But that's the only one I have right now locked up. I think I'm just going to do all my Raptors moments though. And And probably that's it. I don't think I'll get to doing all the other ones, like, whatever moments that I like Top Shot debut moments and stuff like that. I think I'll just go Raptors and try and be in whatever reward segment they're calling for, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably my approach also. I'm trying to just get in that top 750 for the Celtics, because all we know thus far is there's going to be like a debut duo moment for each team. So I think a lot of people are trying to get into as many of those as they can so that they can get those debut moments. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting when that second reward comes out, because when that second reward comes out, I think, like some people were saying, people are making a lot of memes right now about how everyone's just going to be up in arms, and we'll see what happens. But
Hey, I have a question about the duo moments here. Has this been talked about? Because, okay, can you clarify? They're duo moments from like what they say the past decade. Is that basically what they said?
was it
Like,
a decade? Okay,
I
I don't remember,
okay.
but let's say it's
I
a
thought I had
decade.
heard that, so maybe someone in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. Have people been like zeroing in on the Miami Heat leaderboard with the idea that there will be like a Wade LeBron, duo moment?
I mean,
And
that would be, to me, that would be very dumb. Because I think, although who knows? I mean, like if Top Shot surprised us with that, that would actually cause such an extreme reaction, both positively and negatively. Because if the Heat give you Wade and LeBron, and then like the Raptors give you, I don't even know, some random players from the Raptors over the last 10 years, that people are going to lose their mind. I'm like, well, why is my rare moment worth $10 and their rare moment is worth $1,000? So like, I don't think that's very likely to happen.
Yeah. So no, you're probably right. So what? It's going to be Haslam giving a high five to another teammate as he comes off the floor.
It's going to be Haslam like just getting dressed and then going back to the locker room. It's going to be, the duo is going to be Haslam and the physical trainer. So we have exactly the pre-game stretch. The thumbnail is going to be him looking off to the side while the trainer's holding his leg over the head. So we had a question here though from Ben as a Raptors fan.
Yeah.
So let's work through this here. The Dubs Raptors in 2019, Game 7, Steph has 47. Clay doesn't play because he's hurt. Dubs rotation is Quinn Cook playing 27 minutes. Alfonso McKinney, the corpse of Cousins, Jay Bell. If Clay is healthy, do the Raptors still win?
Okay, geez, took a while to get to it.
A little War and Peace though over there.
Yeah. Man. So I guess we're in this hypothetical. Durant is down and out. So we're going with that. Oh man, I love Clay. I love Curry. Of course, I'm going to say the Raptors are still going to win. Look, hey, they won it. Come on, they won in 6. They won every time on the road.
Yeah.
With the way they were playing with Van Vliet and stuff. It's really difficult, man. I was in the building. I was in the Air Canada Center for Game 5 when the Raptors were up 10 with 2.5 to go. That place, I mean, Toronto, that city, that country, they thought they were winning the championship that night. Like, it was, I wasn't. I want the record to show. You can go back, you can find me in the crowd. I am stoic. I am not celebrating. Lee, the guy I do the show with, we're in the press box, for crying out loud, at the back of the lower bowl. He's he doesn't care about rules. You're not supposed to be cheering in the press. He's banging on the wall. He's going nuts. He's rubbing my shoulders, you're winning a chip. You're winning. I'm like, nothing. It's not over. And then sure enough, I think Curry hit a 3, Clay hit a 3, and they went on to win the game, and then they had to go get it done in Game 6. So yeah, if Clay's playing, look, they're dangerous. But I'll take a championship anyway and get it. Guys going down or not. That's part of the game, unfortunately.
Yep.
But sure, I'll still say the Raptors would have gotten it done if Clay's out there.
Yep. That's to be expected, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see where we at. We're at number 4.
Okay. Well, I'll go with the Raptors player.
Okay.
Look at that segue. I'm going to go Precious Achua.
Okay.
I'm going to go Big Man. Yeah. My Precious. You got a Lord of the Rings drop that you can drop there?
I actually hold on. I actually might.
Oh my God.
Hold on. It might be in one of these. I gotta find it. All right, give me a second here.
Please drop a Gollum.
Okay, here we go.
Yes. Oh God, yes.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah, I'm going Precious. I see some people saying over OG. Yeah, over OG, because OG's on this list every damn year. So I'm not doing it again. He's like every year he's the pick to be like the breakout most improved, and then he always plays like 55 games. No, I'll go Precious because we already saw last year. I mean, he's only going into his third season. He just feels like he's a way older guy to me, but like he's still a really, really young guy. But the ups and downs of Achua's game, they're sort of like a running joke within Raptors fandom. So he definitely needs to be more consistent as a starter here in his third year. But he improved already because he was like a non-shooter with the Heat, and he's turned into like a pretty solid 3-point shooter. He shot 39.2% from behind the arc and averaged 12.2 points following the All-Star break last year. And he's still one of the league's like young, versatile defensive bigs. I just think he could be a consistent, like, this is a bit like, as this list goes on, you're going to see like they become a little bit more of a reach in terms of like he's not going to be a superstar. He's not going to be an all-star, but like, could he flirt with like 16-8? I think that's possible, 15-8, and be like a really, really good center. Yeah. So we saw 2 good playoff games from him against the Sixers. He had some duds, but if he needs to just be able to string it together on a consistent basis. And he's still so young. I think he can do it. So I'll go Precious.
Do you think he might show up on the flash challenge here and there, perhaps? Maybe with
I
like
think
a
so. I mean,
3-point?
again, it all depends what it is, right? Is it double doubles, I guess, or whatever, defensive stats possibility. Yeah. This one of all the names I've listed is probably the one where he will least likely show up, but I'm definitely half Top Shot mine right now. And then I'm half like sort of like a guy that's just making an improved leap. It's pretty difficult.
That's fair. But to talk about the Raptors in general, though, how are you feeling about the Raptors this year?
I'm feeling fine. Like, I think, it's been weird off season with this whole, like, them sort of in the Kevin Durant, sweepstakes, and the whole concept of like, should you include Scotty Barnes? Should you not? Is it even real? Like, you never know. The Raptors are like, as an organization, they're like, nothing leaks, like next to nothing from Masai and Bobby Webster. Like, really infrequently do you ever hear like something and then it's like happens. It's like when it happens, it's just like boom. It's like, whoa, okay. But I think I was debating it with a friend yesterday. Like, to me, they're like in the second tier of the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're good enough to be like with your Bucks or your Celtics, or do you want to put the Heat and the Sixers in that one? Sure, I won't argue with that. But to me, they're like right there with the Hawks, and the Nets are a wild card because who knows. But yeah, I just think they're like I have a lot of confidence if this is the Raptors team that we're going to see here. Like, they play defense, they're well coached. Scotty, like, look, that's very promising. Pascal Siakam is one of the most really, I think, underrated guys still in the league. They're just like a 4th, 5th, or 6th seed, I feel like. And they'll be one of those teams that no one really wants to see in a playoff series, probably. Does that mean they'll go very far? No, I don't think so. But
fair enough.
Yeah.
Precious is one of the lower priced TSDs in this conversation. It's currently going for $35. That's a Series 2 rookie.
Oh, there he is on the Heat. Yeah.
On the Heat. All right. So where are we at? We're on number 5.
Okay, number 5. I'm going to go with a good old Canadian boy. Another one. Brandon Clark.
Okay.
Of the Memphis Grizzlies. And here's my reasoning. He doesn't play a lot. He didn't play a lot the last couple seasons. He only averaged like 20 minutes per game last year. But when he plays, he delivers statistic-wise. He averaged 10 and 5 in limited time. Shot 64% from the field. He knows what he's good at. He's not letting it fly from 3. He does his work around the rim. He was really, really good, if you remember, against the Wolves in the first round. He averaged 16, 9, and 3 in that first round series against Minnesota, which was like a little eye-opening. And the real reason I have him on this list, though, is because of the injury to Jaren Jackson Jr., who I think is going to miss. I think they're going to be so cautious in bringing him back because he had a stress fracture in his foot. He's undergone surgery. I think the timeline was 4 to 6 months. 4 months puts you at the start of the season, but like, I think they'd be fools. Like the talented player he is, how young he is. He's a giant guy and it's a foot. You let that heal like completely. So I just think Brandon Clark's going to have a lot of opportunity. I think he's getting more minutes, and when he plays, he puts up numbers. So I'll go with Brandon Clark. That's my reasoning.
All right, that's a good reasoning. And he has a very affordable Top Shot debut. His Top Shot debut is around $9.
Wow.
So that is pretty cheap. All right. So we're halfway through. Who are we thinking for number 6?
I promise you this is not for Mike Zakarian, but PJ Washington, the Chevy Trax of the NBA, as I like to call him. Just good old reliable PJ, man. Is it sexy? No. Just like a Trax, but it's old, man, it's reliable. I think there's an opportunity there for him, obviously, with the Charlotte Hornets still. We'll find out what the hell's going on with Miles Bridges if he's even playing in this league. He could be in prison. And if you've seen the photos, he should be. But I think PJ Washington, he had a weird thing because he used to start, then he was put to the bench last year, but he is a really good power forward center option. And I just see a little bit of a bounce back here for him. And I think he's going to get a little bit more opportunity and might even be starting a little bit more. So I just like PJ. This is a hilarious one, but PJ Washington, he's one of these weird players too. When you talk about flash challenges, he can suddenly pop off and have like these 30-point games where he just catches fire. Like it's really strange. I know he's had a couple like big scoring explosions in his NBA career here, like young NBA career. So this guy's like a 10-5 guy, but I think he'll bump that up. And I think his shooting will rebound a little bit too. Cause it took a drop. I think I saw Pack drip something or something like that. Yeah, PJ.
That's fair. And it's also worth thinking about if Miles Bridges is playing for the county jail, then who takes his points?
Yeah, and like Gordon Hayward's there still, but he never plays because he's always injured. And I'm still convinced that the Hornets could they might look to trade him. I think I still think I could see that happening.
For what?
Well, I've thrown out the one before. If there is no Mitchell to New York trade, I think the Hornets would be extremely smart to try and get in on the Donovan Mitchell sweepstakes to pair with LaMelo and just give up. Obviously, you take a ton of picks, but then you would be using Gordon Hayward's contract. Now, I don't think Jazz fans really want Gordon Hayward back. I get that, but to Kelly Oubre and Harden, Hayward, it works at least for Mitchell, and then a bunch of picks. But yeah, I just think there's more opportunity here for PJ Washington. It's a big reason why, because they don't have a ton of talented bigs, and they're always looking for a center too. This guy has to play center for them half the time. He's like, I don't know, what is he, 6'8", 6'7", something like that. So undersized.
Yeah. Okay. So PJ Washington it is. What do we got for number 7?
Okay, I'm gonna go with a guy, and I keep tweeting this, that I want to buy all his stock. And you know what? I should put my money where my mouth is and buy like one of his rares or his
buy it
legendaries.
right before you say it, or else you're gonna have this chat going to undercut you. Or
no, because this chat's not going to agree with me. I don't think. I really don't.
All right.
De'Aaron Fox.
Okay.
So we were talking about Halliburton and that decision and going with Sabonis. I'm all in on De'Aaron Fox this year for a couple of hilarious reasons. One, he has a weird career, De'Aaron Fox, if you go and check, where he has his rookie year, bad year. Next year, good year. Then it's a bad year. Then it's a good year. Last year, I would say it's a bad year for the most part.
Yep.
That means he's due for his good year here. That's just math for you. And he did average, after the Halliburton trade and Sabonis came in, he was injured and he only played 11 games. So I get it, small sample size, but he averaged 30 points per game, 8 assists, 4 boards in that little, 11 game stretch. So those are some crazy numbers. I really want to see him be healthy. He hasn't played 60 plus games since his sophomore season, so he needs to play. He's into his 6th year here in the league. I think some people have given up on him too, and I think he knows that. I think he upset NFT people. Didn't he rug a bunch of NFT people too? He's got to make it up to them. Yep. So no, I like Fox. I've always been a big fan of his. And some years I looked smart for backing him, and then other years I looked like a fool. But I think with Mike Brown, new coach, and obviously more Keegan Murray coming in, just more talent around him too. I would love to see the Kings just be a competent team here. I know that's the kiss of death. Don't do it. Don't bet on it. Whatever you do. But I'll take Fox in a bit of a bounce back here, at least public perception, I think is possible.
I would love to see it as well. And we have a couple people in the chat. One such person is Poker Pro Eric, who's just a massive Kings fan. So he's looking for this, and he agrees with you that Fox is a stud.
There you go. I hope so.
Davion Mitchell. Yeah,
I hope
Davion
so.
Mitchell also.
Yeah. I definitely spent way too much when I first joined Top Shot on Top Shot debuts for guys like Fox
Yep.
and Booker and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. I like my Kentucky guys for some reason, even though I didn't even go to an
I feel
American
like
school.
Shai Gilgeous could also have a massive year. I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
he was showing it off at times last year. Like
Yep.
he's kind of ready to be that star.
Oh, 100%. 100%. He easily could be on this list. Until, yeah, the problem is he plays too well, and then the Thunder are like, hey, you're playing too well. We're doing too well here. How's your ankle feeling, man? Not great? Take a day off. Take a week off. Take a month
Yeah.
off. Take the rest of the year off.
They call Tanya Harding and her.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we're at number 8.
Okay, so now it's getting into like sicko territory here. Okay, I will admit that. I'll just give you this one for fun. We don't need to take long on it. Denny Avdia.
Okay,
all right,
Denny,
21-year-old with the Wizards.
Israeli.
Exactly. Now this is like for a flash challenge, probably not, but I do think he's going to get like a little more attention this year from maybe like the NBA media, maybe some fans. Like he missed a massive chunk of his rookie season with a broken ankle. And then last year he played in every regular season game and became like a bit of a defensive stopper, which was like not, like I'm far from a draft expert, but that was not what people were saying when he was coming into the league. Like it was like focused on his offense and like his playmaking with his size and stuff like that. And like suddenly he's turned into like this really, really good defensive player. So I just think his stats are going to be better than 8, 5, and 2, which is like obviously nothing to write home about. But he needs to get better. He's got a lot of things to improve offensively. He can't finish at the rim to save his life. His playmaking and like his he's got to take care of turnovers and stuff like that. I think people thought he would just be a little better, maybe even early on here. But I think he has a high ceiling. And he's, like I said, he's 21 years old. Like these guys are so young. And this is when the 3rd and 4th year, especially when he missed a whole year, basically, you can turn it on. So I'll go Avdia.
Yeah, it's another very affordable Top Shot debut for Avdia. It's $33.
It's very affordable. Wow, that's a weird. You don't see 3-pointers from that spot. Look where he is. You don't shoot a ton from like not in the corner, but not above the wing there.
You're right. That is a weird.
That's
spot.
an odd one. Yeah, there you go.
That's kind of like my NBA Jam spot, to be honest.
Ooh, nice. What's your NBA Jam team?
Oh, geez. The Sonics are always good. Man, I gotta go review the different teams again. It's been like literally decades, but
you haven't bought one of the you haven't bought the NBA Jam arcade thing that you can buy?
No, I know Austin on the Top Shot team has one. He's always showing it off in the back of him, but no, I have not. I did actually play. I don't know if you remember this, but they released an NBA Jam game on like Nintendo Wii, the original, and it was on like an app on the phone. Those are actually really fun. They had like the updated teams. I think they had Carmelo Anthony on the Knicks. It was a good time, but they never did it again. I don't know why.
I have it in queue for one of our summer podcasts when there's not a lot to talk about in the NBA. To like, if you had to go through with the 30 teams right now and pick an NBA Jam duo, who would you pick and why, and have the debates and stuff like that. So maybe we'll do that later on No Dunks.
Do you get to include the bench players? Because did you ever notice that too? That certain teams in NBA Jam, they'd have like one bench player and it'd be so aggravating. You could only choose between those 3 players, and other teams would have like 6 players. Didn't quite add up.
Yeah, I guess I don't, because I wasn't probably playing those iterations of NBA Jam. Like I'm back to the OG, go to 7-Eleven, drop your quarters in. Like I'm that old. So to me, a true NBA Jam is only 2 guys. You can't even go to the bench. There's a great book, by the way, on NBA Jam. I think it's called the NBA Jam book.
Nice name.
I'm forgetting the name of the author right now. It's awesome. Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have predicted that there would be a really awesome NBA Jam book.
It's so good. I like it's such a fun, it's a great read. It's like all about the history of like Midway and like how it's a crazy story about like actually how it like became so popular and stuff like that. Yeah.
All right. We'll have to check that out. Okay. So we are at number 9.
Okay. This one's from a guy, TK, Trey Kirby. The Bulls are back. He's always telling me. So I am going to go with Patrick Williams.
Okay, he was
And
injured, right?
believe, yeah, that's right. Believe in the number 4 pick of the 2020 draft, I think it was. Yeah, he's played like less than 90 games in his career because he missed a huge chunk of last year with torn ligaments
Right.
in his wrist, I think is what it was. But he did play at the end of last year. In the final couple like weeks, let's call it, of the regular season, he averaged like 16-6, and I think it went under the radar a little bit. Maybe, the Bulls had fallen off a bit. And then they got killed by the Bucks in the first round. But he had like 2 or 3. I was checking here before I jumped on with you. 2 or 3 like really good games. Like he scored 20 in one of them and shot like 9 of 11 in one game and stuff like that. So he also shot 0 for 9 in another game, but we don't need to talk about that. But yeah, I'm just gonna go him. He's probably gonna be their starting forward along with DeRozan. Whether you want to consider him Patrick Williams the 3 or the 4, DeRozan's sort of a power forward, doesn't matter. But he should, if he can play, if this kid can stay healthy. It's obviously there's some talent on Chicago. I mean, that's a team that you could probably put in the tier 2 if everybody's out there with Zach LaVine and obviously Caruso and Ball and it's a really good team. So
Yeah.
Vucevic. So yeah, I'll go Patrick Williams. Just the hope that he stays healthy and can contribute.
And DeRozan was looking like the next iteration of Michael Jordan there
That was
for
crazy.
a while.
Oh, remember when he hit? Didn't he have He had back-to-back
Buzzer
game
beaters.
winners. Yeah, buzzer beaters. And was it the 31st and then the 1st? Or it was like the end of December? I forget how many days. I think it was. I think it happened in the 2 years, the calendar years, if I remember correctly.
And they're incredible buzzer beaters too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like your run-of-the-mill buzzer beater.
No, they're
I remember
sick.
one
They're
was
like guys draped all over them. Yeah.
His leg was like in the sky on the first one, like right
Mhm.
right in front of half court, if I remember correctly. And the second one, the guy was right all over him. He had to pump fake it and go up again. It's this really awkward release, and he hit it. It's incredible. All right, so we got Bulls are back at number 9. And to close it out, who's our number 10?
Okay, this is the most insane wild card pick here. And I couldn't believe, I was just listening to your podcast with Jay that you had on yesterday. And I couldn't believe I think you asked him the question, like in some sort of like setup for me coming on, here on Sunday. And at one point he said this name and I couldn't believe it, but he dropped a Russell Westbrook because
Okay.
he said, and I had this already written down. I'd already done all my homework and I was like, what? And I'm only saying Westbrook with the idea that he finds his way to some team that obviously takes him in, gets a pick or 2 out of it, whatever the squad is, that he finds his way to it. If Westbrook is indeed still going to play in the NBA. And who's to say he just doesn't have another stupid, dumb Westbrook, statistical season in him, losing a bunch of games, but, flirting with a triple-double again. And maybe it's not 30 points per game, but it's 25, 10, and 10. I think it would be hilarious. Unlikely, but you can squint and see okay, yeah, he could land on the right crappy team and be a bit of a draw for
Absolutely.
tickets and stuff like that. So I'll go Westbrook.
So I saw that headline the other day. Are people really thinking that he could be out of the league? I mean, I know Carmelo's out of the league for so long. Could he really be out of the league after practically averaging a triple-double not that long ago?
I think it's possible. I do. I mean, because at a certain point, look how many times he's been traded here. And every team we talk ourselves into oh, maybe if he could just change his game a little bit, maybe come off the bench, it's not happening. So I think franchises know, all right, he is who he is. And either we're going to live with that and it's going to be a bunch of turnovers and no defense, but he's going to give us some highlights and that's fine. And we're not going to win a whole bunch, or you don't want that because most teams would like to pretend to win. So maybe why I don't think he's going to be playing in the NBA next season. I still believe that, but I think wasn't it Zach Lowe that was or Tim Bontemps maybe at ESPN was is it that far-fetched if he gets traded from the Lakers, let's say to Indiana, they agree to a buyout. It's okay, we got picks for you. Thanks. We don't want you. What team, I guess, is then making the move to add him? I mean, I guess, teams has just added John Wall. Clippers got him. So he'll play, but what a weird career.
I know.
What a weird
truly.
player.
That'd be really sad. I've had so many great memories of watching him play and just his fall from grace. And he played really well on Washington also.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Lakers, that was just a fiery car crash.
Well, yeah, that was one. That's one that we saw coming is the weird thing, though. We're like, this doesn't make a lot. Why are you putting a guy that can't shoot and that needs the ball and doesn't play any defense alongside LeBron? It's just like that was even like, we saw that one coming. Some of the other ones a little different. But yeah, they only have themselves to blame, I think, for that, thinking they could for whatever reason, untap Westbrook or LeBron. Even LeBron at this point is like, all right, no, it's not going to work. He's not the type of player I can play with or I want to and have success with, I think. But
on that note, do you think the Lakers are going to bounce back? Is Anthony Davis going to pick up a basketball in the offseason?
Well, by all accounts, Anthony Davis is up at 4:30 every morning shooting free throws. We're getting these reports. So, hey, that AD Top Shot debut I paid way too much for is gonna come back to pay off for me.
And see, maybe that, by the way, back to this locking conversation, somebody posted something that kind of made sense to me, which is if you have any moments that you purchase that when you look at what you bought them for makes you physically ill, lock those ones. Because
okay. Yeah, that's that makes sense. So I'll be doing that with a couple of these then. Yeah, sure. I got a handful of those. Okay, well, I'll be locking them. Yeah, I'm going to be locking the Raps moments, probably some WNBA stuff too. And then, yeah, maybe that's a great idea. Maybe some of these very expensive Top Shot debuts that I paid for, 14 months ago makes sense.
Exactly.
I guess what the reasoning is score wise,
right. You get a really nice score compared to what you paid for what it's worth now.
Yeah. Okay. Good tip.
Yeah. Well, I can't take full credit. It's I think his name is TSL something or other on Twitter. I'll find him. But Google it. So why don't we jump into our Genie's Wish segment that I alluded to? So we're gonna run that. Brought to you by Tops Wooden Coins. So J.E. Skeets, the genie appears right in front of that towel back there. He says, Mr. Skeets, here's your deal. I am going to bring Kawhi Leonard back to the Raptors. I am going to guarantee you that the Raptors get far in the playoffs. That might mean they get to the finals. I can't make any guarantees, but you're going to have your team you have now plus Kawhi in some magical situation. Okay. But in return, you are going to have to take in to your house 200 frozen croissants, and you're going to have to consume all of those 200 frozen croissants yourself in under 30 days. So that averages out to about 9 point something frozen croissants per day. Will you do it? Will you eat 9.5 croissants per day for 1 month if it means that Kawhi comes to the Raptors and you make it far in the playoffs?
Quick follow-up question, Jeannie. Are these chocolate croissants or are they just straight up generic, pretty?
I think if it was chocolate, that would probably be too cruel. I mean, you'd be I'm
more inclined. Yeah.
Wait, you'd be more inclined if they were filled with chocolate?
I mean, it's chocolate. Yeah. I mean, sure. Tastier, I think.
9 of those every day?
Oh, good point though. Going original OG generic, I can at least put stuff on them, different things. Yeah, that's okay. Yes. I'm taking this. I think I'm glad your math is better than mine. When you said it at first, like 200 over a month, I was like, yeah, that's got to be like 2 a day or something. And they're like 9. I'm like, oh crap. But I think I could do it. And look, am I spinning this into a content play? Absolutely. There's something there. Might go viral. Man eats 200 croissants. I think we get some clicks to the No Dunks YouTube page. So
you might. Then, you
said got Kawhi back on the Raptors now. Holy crap! I like the chances to go pretty far in the East. So yes, I will.
Mike brings up a fair point, though.
It's true.
You might be getting wheeled into that game with a missing leg, but if it's worth a championship, then you're a true diehard.
I'm in. Chocolate or not.
Fair enough. So actually, a couple of players that you didn't mention that I want to quickly ask you about.
Yep.
Tell me real quick, speed version. how good, because you mentioned them before, you said these are like stars, but from what I saw from the little research I did, for example, Jamal Murray was someone I was very curious about. The
Mhm.
Nuggets are saying like he's still not ready. He's still not looking quite 100%. Like, would you feel confident to say that this is Jamal Murray's bounce back year?
I mean, yeah, like I think there were rumors that there were at the end of last season playoffs, like, oh, Jamal Murray might come back. Jamal Murray might come back. And then that got shut down. And probably wisely, because they're like, look, we're not going to go win a title with like a guy coming just back from injury. We've seen what happens to guys like when they rush back and all that. So they're like, no, we still have Jokic. We got an MVP. Yeah, I'm pretty confident he's going to play and be able to get back to sort of like, I guess, bubble Jamal is when he was at his best, right? When he was dropping 50 points, going back and forth with Donovan Mitchell. Yeah, I'm pretty, he's a bit like, from what I know, and there's another good Canadian boy, he's a gym rat. And I just see him taking something like Klay Thompson, taking like obviously rehab super, super serious and wanting to get back out there. So I'm confident in him, at least. I don't think the Nuggets are going to win a title, because I just think there's too many good teams, but yeah.
And what about your boy Kawhi? I mean, sat out the whole year.
Man,
how are you feeling about him?
This is one team, the Clippers, I have no clue about. And like, I see so many people are convinced like Clippers are going to be the best team in the league. Like, they're going to be the best. Everybody plays. It's like, I'm just like, I know why you're saying it, because of the talent. And like, I like Ty Lue as a coach. It's like, there's no way I'm taking that bet. There's not a chance. So maybe they'll prove me wrong, but it's also the Clippers, man. It's like, no, I don't touch that one. But I mean, they have a deep team. They have a very deep roster, and I've seen it firsthand with Kawhi on the Raptors. When that guy plays and is healthy, holy crap, there are like only three, if that, guys that you would have over him, that you would like if you lined him up again healthy in a playoff series. You know, it's like Giannis, it's Curry, you know, then he's right there with your LeBrons and your KDs and stuff like that, in my opinion, his two-way impact. So, but no, I'm not touching the Clips. I see the over-unders and stuff. No way. You just don't know.
Yep. Knicks Clippers finals, baby. Mark it
there
down.
There you go.
Preseason. Let's do it again. Preseason decisions here.
Yeah, you can make some money on that.
We have one comment here. They want your T-Wolves. What do you think about the T-Wolves and the super spreader Gobert?
Oh, how dare you say that? Come on, super spreader. Yeah, I like the T-Wolves. You always got to be like a little hesitant when a team like comes onto the scene, like they're the hot new thing. Everybody's like, oh yeah, just watch this next level next year. A lot of times that doesn't happen. I mean, I just think of the Hawks as, for example, like, you know, they go to the conference finals. Everybody's like, oh, Hawks, man, here we go again. Like, and then it's like, oh, disappointing season. Not saying that's going to happen with Minnesota, and they make a move here, like a big move, obviously bringing in Gobert and try and like make the Twin Towers work there with Cat, and then hope Anthony Edwards, and he should like go to another level in his game because he's so young. I'm just like, I always with teams like this, I just want to like pump the brakes a little bit on like, oh, they're a conference finalist now. It's like, no, they will be happy to, you know, win a first round series and get more experience for these guys. And that's fine. Like they got to make the playoffs, try and win a series. I mean, you know, like that's where they're at. So I just don't want to go overboard, but I think I like Chris Finch. I mean, he's from like the Raptors sort of coaching tree there. And I think he's a really creative coach, and I think they're going to be a good team if healthy. It'll be fun to see. It's like Cat and Gobert. You know, we don't have a lot of like two really all NBA-ish, all-star sort of 4 or 5 pairs in the league anymore. Not really 5-5s if really Cat's a center. So they're going to be a fun team to watch, like an experiment that a lot of people will be tuning into.
Yeah, agreed. That'll be fun. And Anthony Edwards too. It just seems like he's ready to break out.
Yeah, and everybody loves Anthony Edwards. I mean, they already loved him. Then they saw Hustle. They love him even more. And it's like he's such a character. Like I love when the league has guys like him. You know, yeah, I feel like everybody's rooting for him. So
How
Hopefully they
highly
deliver.
did you rank Hustle? Like some people were going way over the top, I felt on Twitter, talking about how it's like an all-time great sports movie. Were you standing for Hustle like that?
I was. Yeah, we did a
Okay,
podcast on it. I think it's one of the better like I said like documentaries about basketball, like,
fair.
like Hoop Dreams is still like one of the greatest. I think it's one of the greatest movies for crying out loud ever made.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
I take a lot of the docs off the board, but like just like scripted NBA or basketball movies. I think it's high on my list. Like it was entertaining. I think I'll watch it again. Um,
Yeah, this is a good question here from Wise. I was thinking of the
yeah.
same thing. I'm not sure if my nostalgia has Blue Chips better or if it's actually better.
That's a great call. Tandy. That's a great call. We literally would have to watch it again. I
I'm
sort of
scared. I'm
think we
scared
think
to
it's
watch
better
old
than it
movies.
might be. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
But I love it too. It's on my list. Like, Blue Chips is there. I mean, Above the Rim obviously is still. We just watched that not too long ago, and it's like I thought it held up. So it's one of the better ones. I was a huge Sunset Park fan. I remember when I was like younger. I can't imagine that one holds up as well. But I have Hustle high. I think I said on our podcast when we were reviewing it, that's like, to me, that's like, it's top 5. Like, it's like, do you love He Got Game? Some people like love He Got Game. Some people don't. Love and Basketball, it's a different type of movie. Some people love it. Some people don't. Coach Carter, I think I saw somebody say, I don't love that one. So I have Hustle above that. Adam
Yeah, we got
Sandler
some names in here.
is, he makes some funny sports movies.
I would say, but Adam Sandler, period. I thought Uncut Gems to me. That was like one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah. Do you want to count that as an NBA movie, a basketball movie?
If I can, then that's way up there.
Yeah. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, why can't Uncut Gems be a basketball movie? It's got Kevin Garnett in it, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right. Well, chat, do you have any other questions for the man, Jay Skeets, while he's here with us? Let's see if we got any questions. We'll do the little question video. Where is it? Let's find it. Got too many videos back here. I'll just do a Russ video because we talked about him.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's better than I remember because you only ever see like the photo of him making the face. Like, the clip itself, it's even better than the photo.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I need your analysis of a video that I have
God, here we go. Play the handshake. Here we go.
So, how'd it go? I appreciate it. Yeah, man, that was an awkward fist bump. Don't clip that. Don't clip that. Chat's gonna clip that. It's gonna go viral. Jesus Christ. No, I appreciate it. It was weird. What
I've now seen that clip literally 10 times because of your damn show. It's still good, still funny. It's
I know.
To give my 2 cents on it. It's the true awkward part of it. It really isn't the messed up, like, are we fist bumping or handshake? Like that's obviously the mess up, but it's them sitting beside each other. The fact that it's even attempted in the position, I think is really what gets it clipped and turned into a video for you.
Man.
But hey, look, Jacob was all over it. He knew right away. Oh God. Yeah.
And I saw actually on Twitter, Jacob was saying how much he enjoys the new show by fellow Canadian, by the way, Nathan Fielder. The what's it called? The Rehearsal.
The Rehearsal.
And there's actually a J.E. Skeets line in that. Have you seen the first episode?
I did see that. Yeah. Well, not J.E. Skeets line, but yes.
I was almost going to ask you, have you ever gone skeet shooting with a name like that?
I haven't. But what happens in the rehearsal too is they're shooting like literally blanks, aren't they? Is that what
yeah.
So they can bond over. Oh, I love it. Have you watched the second episode yet, though?
No, I haven't. I've only watched almost the first, and I love it because I love Nathan Fielder so much.
Oh, so do I. I think the first episode is so damn funny, especially because like I go to trivia too. I'm not spoiling it for anyone, but there's like a hilarious trivia part of the first episode, like the relaying of answers. I find it so damn funny. But I'm telling you right now, and I knew this was going to happen. Like the second episode, man, it takes a dark turn real quick, and it's good. It gets really weird, really fast, but I still love it. So
Yeah, there's nothing that can spook me that
Yeah.
man puts out. All right, let's just run through a few questions here, and then we'll let you
Sure.
get back to it. Here we go. Is there an 86, 87 moment or player that you'd love to have?
Oh yeah. Well, that's tough. There's a lot of talent. That's the guy I do the show with, Lee Ellis's his favorite game of all time is the 87 All-Star game.
Okay.
Because like how it basically turned him into an NBA fan living in Australia, and like that tape found his way to him, and like they watched it over and over again, and like
That's cool.
there's like some clutch free throw shooting at the end. Can that be my answer? I want Orlando Blackman shooting free throws to win the All-Star game.
Yeah, I think that could be it.
I mean, if we're taking Jordan off the board here, give me a Dominique highlight.
Okay, I like that.
Shot.
Wouldn't
Yeah, I think
expect
this would
that.
be good.
All right,
Yeah.
nice. Do you think that this like gazelle giraffe fellow Wembenyama is going to break the league?
It does appear so. I mean, it's like let's take Kevin Durant and make him stretch him even more. Is what the guy looks like. Just from clips I've seen, like the same as everybody. Yeah, he looks like he's for real. I don't think it's like he looks awesome. Especially like how young he is still. And yeah, there's going to be some great tanking going on.
Oh,
Down the stretch. I'll tell you that. Can't wait for that. I mean, the best part is
Serious.
now it's weighted. So it's like you can't even be the worst and get the 25% chance. At least it's like weighted for the worst of the worst or top 4 worst. But yeah, he's good.
why
I believe
do I fear that the Cavs are somehow going to end up with it?
Wow.
They're going to find a way.
Yeah. I love the idea that the Spurs and trading DeJounte and like they're just trying to do what they did, like to get Duncan, basically. Maybe Keldon Johnson is a bad pick. Maybe he gets off to a hot start and they're like, shut him down because they like want to be bad. I don't know.
That would suck. Because
Yeah.
I want to see him play well. So here's a question. What's the big difference in Atlanta compared to Canada other than real estate prices?
Yeah. I can afford a house here in Atlanta. That's nice compared to Toronto. I think that like I'll just say like the biggest shock for me. I lived in Toronto for like 15 years, and if you've never been, it's like Toronto's basically New York. It's like maybe a cleaner, friendlier New York, but it's a hustle and bustle city, right? It's like one of the biggest cities in North America, and maybe not the world, but it's one of the bigger cities. Moving to Atlanta, I remember like, why does everybody want to talk to me? And like, so like you're waiting at an elevator or you're getting your groceries, like, so you're checking out and like everybody's like, hey, how's it going? Or, well, why are you buying? Like everybody like was asking me questions. And like, when you come from Toronto, again, like a big city, like New York, like it's like anyone asking you a question you don't know, you're like, what do you want from me? Like, what's the play here? Like, I don't want it. I'm not. And it's just like, Atlanta to be a big city, like it is a big city, but it's got that Southern slow vibes where everybody's like, they are like just chatty and like friendly and like, what's the rush? Why don't we talk while we're riding this elevator? So it was like, and I love it. Like, don't get me wrong. I really do, but it's just, it was like eye-opening when you first came from Toronto, for me at least. I know my wife has talked about it as well. It's like, whoa, why does everybody talk to us?
People are nice.
They're just like, they're just kind and curious, and again, it's more just the speed of everything is just at a different vibe, especially for again, it is a big city. It's not like we're in the middle of the country or anything like that.
Yeah. What about you have any good peaches over there?
Well, yeah, but the peaches are good, but it's it is the peach state. I think the peach is like, in their, I don't know, some sort of logo of theirs, but they apparently don't produce, like they're not the number one state for producing peaches here in Georgia. So it's a bit of a lie.
It's a
I think
marketing
it's,
scam.
I want to say it's like South Carolina or North Carolina, like pretty close, but they just run with the peach, which is a good
question.
fruit. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Canadian?
Wow. Maybe it's Nathan Fielder right now. Do I have a favorite? Well, I mean, I guess I'll go back to the NBA world. It's probably Steve Nash. He like really, really like made me as Canadian. Like when I became a basketball fan, it felt like there was 8 of us, in Canada. Like it's, especially in Ontario, it's hockey. This was pre-Raptors, before they were a team, and Steve Nash coming into the league, coming from Canada, suddenly becoming like an all-star and then an MVP. And like, I've had a chance to interview him, and he's like super down to earth and just so nice. So I guess I'll go Steve Nash. I mean, I'd like to see him have a little more coaching success here, but
Yeah.
no.
Well,
He's
if
great.
Kyrie Irving stops, lighting incense all over the court before every game, then
Yeah. I can't believe Steve Nash is still coaching them. I thought he would have quit so long ago. I was like, God, why do I need to do this? Like, I don't really need to. Like, he was like a soccer analyst for a while. It was like somebody's paying him to talk about soccer. He's like, okay, sure. It's like, why wouldn't you just keep doing that? But, these guys are competitive. NBA players, if you ever met them, they are super competitive with anything they do. So maybe that makes sense.
well, that's a little bit of alpha there, because I haven't interacted with many NBA players. Is there anything else that you can share about how like crazy NBA players are?
I truthfully, like, I know I'm stereotyping, but from my experience, and I've been around a lot of them now, especially when I worked at NBA TV, like, there is like I am a very competitive person. Like, I am, like, whatever we're doing, I'm like going to try and figure it out and get better at it, whatever. Like, these athletes to get to the NBA, like, they're just next level. Like, it's just, the blinders are unreal of their competitive, like, just spirit to like, just whatever they're doing, ping pong or cards or like anything. It's sort of wild. Like Matt Bonner, and I'm talking like, this is the crazy part, like the worst player in the NBA. And Matt Bonner was like a decent player. And he's a friend of mine now. And we did stuff with him. He was like psycho. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's just, you have to be, I think, to just become one of the greatest like NBA players in the world. There's like only not a handful, like there's 300 every year. And it's like, there are many other just as athletic guys, and they're just maybe not as dedicated to whatever and putting in the work. It's really wild where you think you're competitive like I do. And then it's just like, I'm not even close to how they think about things. So that's
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Like somebody I saw when we were talking about Uncut Gems, somebody was like, oh, Kevin Garnett. What a great actor. Kevin Garnett was not acting in that movie at all. Zero. He was they're like, okay, here we go. And he's like, okay, I'll be Kevin Garnett. Like, he's like that all the time. Oh man, like he was a hilarious person to be around at the studios when we were the starters at NBA TV. Like, he is, you can hear him anywhere in the building. He's yelling, he's cursing up a storm. He's like getting into an argument about whatever, like be it basketball or not. Like, he is just like so intense, like sort of scary at first. And then you're like, no, this is just who he is. We're just going to be yelling about things. And it became fun. But at first you're like, geez, he's going to kill me.
I got to look up that episode. Is that on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a good bookend for that, for what you just said, which
Yeah.
is that Scalabrine is closer to LeBron than you will ever be to him.
It's not wrong.
Yeah. And I remember Scalabrine, by the way, he like brought on people that were talking trash about him. And do you remember that? And he like played one-on-one versus them.
Yeah.
He just absolutely smoked all of them,
Yeah.
of course.
It's pretty amazing. And like, exactly. And then he's basically like considered one of the worst players in the league. Like it's nuts. I remember, it's like semi-related. Like, when I was 14 or 15, I went to a basketball camp in Ontario, and they had, so it was like a week-long thing. And Jeff Turner, I don't know if you remember the name. He was like, he was an NBA player. He played for the Magic. That was probably where he was best known. He was a tall, white dude. Sort of probably ahead of his time in the sense that he was like an incredible shooter, but like you weren't shooting a ton of 3-pointers, sort of mid-90s there yet. And I didn't see him miss a shot the entire week at basketball camp. Like, never saw him missed. It was like unreal. It was like so automatic. Now he's like shooting over like kids and stuff. I get that, but it's like he just never missed. Yeah, there he is. Jeff Turner showing up. How much did they pay him to show up to an Ontario basketball camp? That's the real question. Who knew him? But it's like these even the worst of the worst players are just amazing when it comes to either the skill of shooting a basketball, or of course, like you add the athleticism and the height, stuff like that. It's wild.
Of course. We'll close it out with this one. What's your favorite non-basketball movie? We talked about sports movies. Do you have a favorite non-basketball movie?
Yeah, it's Rad.
Rad.
The BMX movie from the mid '80s.
Okay, I don't know this one.
Oh, it's I believe the greatest movie ever made. It's because of like fell in love with it when I was a kid. I have actually a it's so weird. I have a bookmark link, just says Rad. It takes me to like a Facebook page where you can watch the movie. Somebody like ripped it and uploaded it there.
Well, I
Um,
think I mean it's right here actually. Look,
there it
you can
is.
watch
Yeah,
it
that's
on.
the screen
Oh,
grab. That's the
that's a
screen grab.
trailer. That's a trailer.
Yeah, that's Hell Track. They're at Hell Track right there, doing some flips. Send Me an Angel. People know. Girl, great song. John Farnham's got some bangers too. Break the Ice. Oh man. It's hilarious. It's got, you know who it stars? The female lead is Lori Loughlin from Full
Okay.
House fame. And then
Yeah.
also fame of like basically going to jail because she got her daughter into university or something like that, didn't she?
Oh right. Of
Yeah.
course.
So she's in it, and then Crew Jones is the name of the main guy.
Yeah,
Rad.
what a-
Highly recommended, everyone. It's a
There's Lori
horrible 80s
Loughlin.
movie that's awesome.
There's Lori Loughlin doing her perp walk.
Yeah.
All right, well there you go. Some unexpected answers. You got Dominique Wilkins as the player you want to see. We got Rad. That's probably more surprising than Dominique Wilkins. That's great, man.
I would round out my list because I see somebody, maybe they know me. Rad. I love Interstellar. One of these days I'm going to figure it out. And I love the Royal Tenenbaums too. It's a favorite movie of mine. So it's
I
probably
like the one when they're on the train, the brother something.
Oh, the Darjeeling Limited.
Yeah, the Darjeeling.
Yeah, that's good
Limited.
too. It's a great
I
one.
like that
I
one.
like a lot of Wes Anderson movies.
So I
but
also,
love
by the
Tenenbaums.
way, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I said I love Tenenbaums. Yeah, that's probably
Oh,
my
yeah,
favorite of
yeah.
Wes.
I haven't seen Interstellar. It's one of those ones that's always on the
Oh
list.
wow. Well, put some time aside, and then hey, let me know if you figure it out. Let me know if you figure out the fifth dimension or whatever the hell he gets into.
Yeah, I have a feeling I won't. I watch some of these shows and then I'm like reading blogs for longer than I was watching the show to try to figure
Yeah.
out what I just watched.
Yeah. I do love a big reason why I love Interstellar is I love the soundtrack. Like I love the music in it. It's a weird thing. Like I'll go run. Like I'm a big like runner. Like I just I was just gonna say I just got into it, but like last decade been running marathons and stuff.
Nice.
I'll put on Interstellar soundtrack and just go for a run to it. It's really weird, but I find it very inspiring.
No, I too. There was a
Yeah.
playlist on like Alexa, Amazon, right? And it's like focus music, and one of the songs is just Interstellar. So there's
Oh, there you
something
go.
that just sets your mind.
Yeah,
Eyes on the prize, like Brian Scalabrine playing pickup.
that's right. Got to lock in. Get
Yeah.
in that zone. Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna watch Interstellar, Stan says here in the chat, just drop some shrooms before you watch it. That's also a way to tackle it. Definitely.
Probably watching the ceiling fan if that were the case. All right, well, Skeets, thank you so much. I think we've covered it. We've got our 10 players to look out for.
Right.
I even purchased a Brandon Clark while we were talking.
Wow. Excellent. All right. I'm going to get to locking all my Raptors moments after this. All my Top Shot debuts that I spent way too much on. I'll do that. That'll be my
choose
promise.
a team. Choose the team that you want to be on the leaderboard, and choose the moments that make you sick.
That's right. Right. And why won't anyone accept my $20 offer on a Candace Parker best of 2021? Why?
What's the low ask?
It's like $22. That's the whole.
That's silly. But
That's
this is,
so funny.
I think you were mentioning this on your show the other day. It's like they will have this soon.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to go serial by serial. Like it'll just be.
Yeah.
Because they'll get accepted like this.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like there's like, in just even like finding out that you have been offered like something on a moment that you have for sale, it's like, it's still a little clunky, all of that. But you're right. It's like, this is the first step to it. I think it was like a decent first step. And I've had, like I said, the run it back got accepted and stuff like that. I something tells me it works better on like a little bit more expensive moments that maybe there's like less supply. It's like, it's just like the idea of like somebody's like, oh, it's been sitting there for a long time. Okay, whatever. I'll take the $30 hit because it hasn't moved at low ask or something like that. So
I think you're onto something there. All righty. Well, Skeets, it's probably hot there. I don't know if you're going to go outside now because you're probably melt if you go outside in Atlanta on a Sunday at 5 o'clock.
Oh, it's
But
probably when it's like basically at its hottest. It's really it gets hotter as the afternoon goes on here in Atlanta. Yeah, it's dumb hot right now. It feels like it's dumb hot everywhere in the world right now, though. So
yeah. I opened the show with that the other day. It's like less plastic, less big cars, unless you want. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to be taking advice from an NBA Top Shot stream.
You never know. If you inspire one person to use one less plastic cup or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. I would agree with Jules here. Jay, you've been an awesome guest. You got that great energy, greater energy than mine. Come on now, let's be serious. But yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it,
you, man.
Jules. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on. I'm sort of late to the Tandy Time podcast, but I'm all in now. I'm all in.
I appreciate that.
I basically just watched to talk to Jay for 2 hours.
I don't know if
and
that's
then
a
the
good
one
start.
before that, I was listening to the podcast, not watching.
Okay.
And there was what I assume a bunch of filters going on because there was a lot of impersonations. It was very funny.
Yeah.
Was that? I don't know. Which one that was.
They might have looked like this.
Oh my God, that's
They
creepy.
might have looked like this, Skeets. You know,
Wow.
And that's a good one, right?
I'll have to send you the clip of we had our own little dunk contests when we were the starters at All-Star weekends. So I would battle Trey or Trey would battle Lee. We would drop the rim to 8 feet and then try and come up with creative dunks. The one year I had Lee wear the Trump mask, hold a wall, and then I jumped and dunked over him. And it was great because I dunked it and then the ball ricocheted and hit him in the head. So it's a great clip. I'll send you that GIF and you can drop it in wherever you want.
All right, definitely send me that. I will use it. Well, anything is possible. Thank you, Skeets. #no
Thank
dunks.
you.
Great show. And let's just watch the handshake one more time, and then we'll do the interlude.
So, I appreciate it. Yeah, man, that was awkward. Fist bump. Don't clip that. Don't clip that.
Oh God, it's a gift that keeps on giving. I don't know.
Really is.
We're gonna keep playing that until it's not funny, and I don't know when that's gonna happen.
It's still good. Also, the little flute music takes to the next level. It's great.
And little known fact, but the judge, who's the guy on the left, that he loves Celine Dion. He's an interesting character.
Oh, wow.
He loves Celine Dion.
Another Canadian.
Right. So we love it. All right, man. Well, I'll let you get to it. Thank you so much. And anytime you want to talk about anything, you're always welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Tandy. And thanks to everybody in the chat. And go check out No Dunks if you want to hear us talk about the NBA and movies and frozen croissants and all that good stuff. Yeah,
and even baseball, I saw. And your YouTube thumbnails are getting very YouTubey. I must say, I have a very YouTubey thumbnail. You got very bright colors and you guys are doing a good job.
Okay, I like to hear that because I do those, and there's been a lot of trial and error because I'm old in learning the tricks of YouTube. So at least I like how they look, and I guess they sort of work. So I'm happy to hear that. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Skeets, and until the next time.
Take care.
Static Selector.